Good morning. Okay, I'm gonna start my timer. I have like a million slides, so we're gonna go through them pretty fast. I feel like a stand-up comic up here, like I'm working on some new material. It's the first big conference after the pandemic. And I think that we probably all actually have a lot of new material because a lot has happened in infrastructure in Los Angeles. It's pretty exciting to have a chance to see everyone in person, to hear about the progress that everyone is making. And obviously with the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law having been passed in DC, there's gonna be hopefully a lot more progress coming soon. So I'm Heather Repenning. I work at LA Metro. I do sustainability policy for Metro. And I also want to thank Ken for putting this together, for inviting all of us and bringing us together today. And I want to encourage you all to stick around and be part of everything throughout the day. So thank you, Ken. One of the reasons that I like working in infrastructure is because infrastructure to me is actually people. And I like helping people. I've been in public service my entire life, so I'm kind of, not my entire life, my entire career. And to me, infrastructure is communities, it's jobs, it's opportunity. There's money in infrastructure. Some other sectors, there's less opportunity available, less funding. And in transportation right now, in LA County, Metro, we have a permanent sales tax. And so we are the biggest infrastructure program in the country. And transportation is also the biggest part of the new National Historic Infrastructure Bill. So to me, transportation should be the leader. And transportation should be a sector that is able to bring other sectors along with it and to lift other issues and areas up and to help meet other needs. To me, infrastructure is also about the future. And I think over the pandemic, we've all gotten a sense that time is something that's very fleeting. Life itself is very fleeting. We're building things that are permanent. And so I think the question for all of us is, what kind of permanent things are we building? What kind of future are we building? For those of us who have been preaching the multi-benefit gospel for a while now, it's a very good time to be alive because a lot of the funding and the way that programs are being written is supporting this idea that no, we're not here to just deliver one thing. As long as we're investing public resources in delivering one thing, let's see if we can also, in an intelligent way, deliver other things and meet other needs along with it. That is a smart use of taxpayer dollars. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law talks a lot about climate resilience. It talks about equity. It talks about jobs. These are the things that we're being asked to deliver along with the train, the subway, the bus. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a few projects that I think are really interesting and kind of the future as well. The Rail-to-Rail project, if you're not familiar with it, it's just this incredible project that Metro is going to be, we're already under construction. It's in South LA. It's an abandoned Union Pacific rail line. So for anyone who's visited the High Line in New York, or I was in Paris a couple weeks ago, there's actually an abandoned viaduct that's been transformed into this magnificent green community walking space that's attracted as well a lot of investment. So we're right now building the first phase. It's the one in green. Eventually the second phase is actually going to go to the LA River. And we're transforming this, just basically nuisance site, this abandoned rail line with all this contaminated soil and old infrastructure that somehow was never removed, into what is going to be an active transportation, biking, walking, green. these are all the benefits that, are going to happen through this project. I wanted to talk about specifically the way that we were able to get other funding. Because of the water quality benefits here, we're reducing pollution. We were able to get $8 million out of Measure W because of the work that we're doing to reduce pollution. I happen to have worked on the Measure W program, Clean Safe Water. It's a parcel tax in LA County that is meant to help address our stormwater obligations. It's also a water supply program as well. But the way that Clean Safe Water was written was to enable everyone who's doing construction to get funding to address water quality. So it's not meant to just give funding to sanitation or LA County Public Works. So yeah, at Metro, we're going to get some of that money so that we can do more with some of these projects. We've also attracted money from the state for trees. The city of LA is actually going to they're going to fund the trees along our right-of-way, and then they're also going to go and put trees along Slauson. And so it's been able to attract additional money. We're also right now with Slate Z, a community organization, going to be applying for additional climate resilience funding from the state. So stay tuned, fingers crossed for that. I think these kinds of projects attract other kinds of money, and I think it's very exciting. Here's another one. So in addition to my work at Metro, I'm a board member at the Metropolitan Water District. I know way too much about water. Our water situation right now is bad. Who knows where we get our water from in Southern California? Where? The Colorado River and, yeah, basically the State Water Project and City of LA, Owens Valley. You guys saw Chinatown. All of these places are basically in jeopardy. So that water is in jeopardy. And, the good thing is we have a lot of water here locally. And so, the idea is that we're actually going to have to capture stormwater. We're going to have to recycle wastewater and whatnot. And that's really going to be a great way to supplement the water that we're no longer able to get from these faraway places. So what it really means, we have to perforate our city. We have a lot of storage underground that we're not able to use, we're not using. This is what happens when you take a bus line, BRT, and you use it to capture stormwater. This overlies the San Fernando Regional Groundwater Basin. And this is the ideal location. We actually were looking at the East San Fernando Valley Light Rail project for, climate and sustainability opportunities. We found that the right-of-way along that light rail project was not wide enough to do very much. But we found that this BRT project, the grade separation that we're doing was actually an even better opportunity to basically capture a ton of runoff and use it to recharge the aquifer. We're getting we designed 168 dry wells, and it's on a rainy year, which is not every year. We are going to be able to capture enough water to basically offset our water use at Metro for the entire year and help the region. We got money from DWP, and we got money from the Clean Safe Water program. This is like a $45 million project. I think it's really cool. This came up a little bit earlier around the airport. Project labor agreements. How many of you are familiar with project labor agreements? Okay, so I just wanted to talk about it today because I feel that we do not really talk about these enough. Because to me, this is a green jobs program, because to me, jobs in public transportation are green jobs. Jobs in construction of public transportation are green jobs. And so when we put a project labor agreement in place, which LA Metro has an incredibly robust project labor agreement, we're not just committing to a certain number of jobs. We're committing to diversify the construction industry, which needs it, and to hire locally from Metro's equity-focused communities. But we're also committing to creating training opportunities. So we're committing to a certain hours on our projects for people to train for these careers. And so, I'm just really proud of this program. We have a 40% requirement for construction workers residing in economically disadvantaged areas. These are just numbers, and basically, they're just numbers, but they're actually people. And these are actually, hours that people are putting in to train for a career that is going to be a good career in many cases, and to actually better people's lives. This is national. This is a new map that we've been using for talking about some of our applications for the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. Sorry if you live in Alaska or Hawaii. I promise we are hiring companies from those places too. But our program is actually a national program. And we believe that, for that national funding, that federal funding to come to LA is benefiting the entire US, as we're showing in this map. We're creating jobs, we're creating opportunity. So I wanted to just take a minute and talk kind of about the future and future kind of case studies. And this is something that Commissioner Norton and I have been talking about. She talked about in her comments earlier, but highways. And highways, there's been a big reckoning around highways, the way that highways have been developed, and the impacts to communities, the taking of property, the GHG emissions that are generated using highways. And so some of us have been thinking through, just because someone said earlier, we know how to build a road. I'm not trying to call anyone out, but and that's actually a fact. We do know how to build a road. But, there are so many better ways to build a road. Caltrans, just as an example, recently has started requiring the use of a much lower carbon-intensive type of concrete. So there are materials that we can be using to build roads. There are ways to build roads. This is an example. This is not in California, but this is an image that is from a project in South Korea that was, making its round on Twitter or whatever. This is a bike lane covered in solar panels, and it's just kind of like, why can't we have this here? We should be able to do these things here. We should be able to talk about what does a multimodal highway look like? What does it mean for highways to serve our communities in ways other than, allowing people to drive from one place to another? This is a project that the city of Long Beach is proposing, where Metro has a construction project on the I-91. It's called the Hamilton Loop. But we know that, some of these spaces that are owned by Caltrans can be used to capture stormwater. They can be used to improve communities. This one features bike lanes. And then finally, electric roads, induction charging. To me, I'm not obviously I work in public transit, so I'm not the biggest, proponent of, all EVs all the time, right? Because yes, we do have to transition transportation to green power. But we also, as part of meeting our climate goals in California, we also have to figure out how to change people's driving behaviors. Not every day, not every person, but we've actually got to start shifting people onto public transportation where it's available. So I'm not the person, I'm sorry to end with this because I'm not here to talk about EVs, but I do think that electric roads are something that it is a way to use our highway space to do more than just drive. I hear people talking about how charging is all going to happen and it's going to start to be in gas stations, and I think, well, we don't need to have people pull over. Electricity doesn't need a hose or a pump to move. So, I mean, we would love to see that gas station space in the future be used for housing or for some other use in the community. So I love the electric road idea. I see there's one now in Detroit, and I hope that we see more here in California soon. So those are just some of the ideas I wanted to highlight for you today. I hope that if you're sitting near someone or have a chance to talk to someone who is working in this space of trying to create multiple benefits, I hope that you'll thank them, because it is hard. It is hard to get agencies to talk to each other, because that's what a lot of this is. It's hard to get funding to work together, and it does require a fair amount of persistence. So if you're one of these people, I guess, good luck. And I think it's time for a coffee break, right, Ken?
One more session.
Okay, not yet. Thank you.